It is of critical importance to bring you latest verifiable information and development across the federal ministries, agencies, and parastatals across the Federation. Welcome to Ministry News. The Federal Executive Council (FEC) at its first meeting in 2023, Wednesday, approved the proposal by the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing for the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited and its subsidiaries to invest 1.9 trillion naira for the reconstruction of 44 selected federal roads across the country. The FEC meeting, chaired by the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, also endorsed the sum of 1.35 billion naira for the procurement of 31 vehicles for the use of the Federal Ministry of Environment for the monitoring of power and remediation projects in some polluted areas of Ogoniland in Rivers State. The Council equally approved the draft bill for an act to establish the Nigeria Police Force College Training School and Institution to serve as a center for professional training of officers of the Nigeria Police and other related matters.
Minister for Works and Housing also got approval of the Council for concessionaires for 9 road corridors under the pilot phase of the value-added concession of the Highways Development and Management Initiative, following the issuance of the requisite full business case compliance certificates by the Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission for a period of 25 years for each road corridor as follows.
The Federal Executive Council (FEC) has approved the sum of 2.3 billion naira for the commencement of local assembly of Magnus Centennial aircraft at Nigeria College of Aviation Technology Zaria, Kaduna State. The Minister of Aviation, Hadi Sirika, disclosed this after the FEC meeting presided over by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo on Wednesday at the Presidential Villa. The minister expressed optimism that the Nigerian aviation industry will soon progress into local manufacturing of aircraft.
We will indeed assemble the Magnus aircraft, and we'll continue to do so. And not too distant future, by God's grace, the industry of civil aviation will begin to manufacture right here in country aircraft. But we're beginning by assembling these training aircraft.
The Minister of Labour and Employment, Dr. Chris Ngige, has disclosed the federal government's plan to launch a labour statistics system to enable unemployed Nigerians at home and abroad apply for available jobs. The minister, who disclosed this at a media parley with journalists in his office, lamented that unabating child labour practices in the country has been caused by poverty. Dr. Ngige assured that the ministry had earlier established a labor exchange system for merging and cross-matching labor supply and demand in the country. The federal government Thursday wooed Spanish investors to invest in Nigeria's 2022 deep offshore mini-bid round, as it also announced that Spain will support Nigeria with security in the oil and gas sector. The Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Chief Tinubu Chicago, will disclose this during a visit by the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Spain, Jose Alvarez, who led a large delegation of key investors from his country to Abuja, promised that the bid process will be competitive and transparent. Chief Tinubu Chicago noted that Nigeria needs all the investments that it requires, and since the oil and gas sector is at the core of the Nigerian economy, with the coming of Spain with the array of investors, it is no doubt a major investment opportunity for Nigeria. The Federal Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation has partnered with Nigeria Energy Dialogue (NED) to drive the country's vision for a clear, safe and available energy in line with global net zero emission targets. The Executive Director, Nigeria Energy Dialogue, Frank Edozie, while describing the technology as a revolutionary one, said methanol was transportable energy that could be used to power industries, homes, rural electrification and household energy with a multiplier effect on the economy through job creation. The Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, through its Farm Input Support Services Department, has vowed to severely punish fertilizer adulterators with 10 years imprisonment. The warning was on the heels of a one-day capacity building of fertilizer quality control inspectors across the 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory (FCT). The capacity building Christian zonal sensitization training workshop for the fertilizer quality control inspectors and other relevant stakeholders focused on the enforcement of provisions of the National Fertilizer Quality Control Act 2019 and the Regulations 2020. Arrangements are in top gear by major stakeholders in the maritime industry to actualize the disbursement of the much-delayed Cabotage Vessel Financing Fund (CVFF) before President Muhammadu Buhari vacates office on May 29, 2023. To ensure a smooth disbursement, the Minister of Transportation, Alhaji Muazu Sambo, the Director General of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency (NIMASA), Bashiru Jamo, members of the Nigerian Indigenous Ship Owners Association (NISA) and Ship Owners Association of Nigeria (SOAN), among others. It was learned are currently putting heads together to ensure fair disbursement of the fund. Some of the major factors highlighted for the fair disbursement of the fund are the establishment of the CVFF Disbursement Committee by the government, the need for an audit of the fund, issues of harmonized guidelines for the disbursement, disunity among ship owners, and issues of equity contribution, among others. The Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Otumba Adeni Adebayo, has expressed the federal government's commitment to promote development of the cotton subsector of the economy. The minister was represented by the Director, Industrial Development Department of the Ministry at the opening of the first Nigeria International Cotton Summit and Expo in Abuja, emphasized the need to resuscitate the country's textile industry. Adebayo, however, noted that the ministry was committed to providing the enabling environment that will enhance the competitiveness of Nigerian industries, both locally and internationally.
The Nigerian economy has enormous potential to become the hub of African trade, with the largest market in West Africa of over 200 million people.
The Minister of State for Education, Honorable Goodluck Nanaopia, has lamented that the rising number of children dropping out of school in Nigeria is worrisome to the federal government. Honorable Goodluck Nana made the position of the federal government known in Abuja. The minister, who commended LMF for their efforts in training young people, especially bringing back the children that have left school to come back to school to learn a skill, posited that skilled trade, if properly harnessed, would reduce unemployment and positively engage the youths in the country. The Federation Account Allocation Committee (FAC) has shared 990.189 billion naira to the three tiers of government for December 2022. The Director of Information and Press, Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, gave the details on Tuesday. The federal government received 375.306 billion naira. States and the FCT received 299.557 billion naira, while the 774 local government councils got 221.807 billion naira. The 990.189 billion naira received by the federal government comprised gross statutory revenue, value-added tax (VAT), and electric money transfer levies. And finally, on Ministry News. The 7th edition of the National Youth Games (NYG), earlier scheduled to hold in Asaba, the Delta State capital, from February 8th to 18th, 2023, has been postponed. The Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Sports and Youth Development, Alhaji Ismaila Abubakar, stated that the postponement is due to logistics and time constraints, especially taking cognizance of the commencement of the general election slated for February 25, 2023. While regretting all the inconveniences the postponement might have cost its stakeholders, Alhaji Ismaila assured that a new date for the Games will be announced after the election. Let's now bring you top ministry news headlines across various federal ministries.